let's go over Bitcoin's move. What we're going to do is we're just going to start breaking down some logic flow because I really want people to understand how to make decisions next based on what's happening in a move, current, and then, going forward in the ways in which we can tackle this. So let's take a look at what's been happening. We have the daily level, and as always, with any chart, we start with master timeframes. So we do a lot of different things in some of these sessions regarding master timeframes, controllers, and I want to just define for a moment the difference between a master timeframe and a controller, because that's a really important piece when we're looking at the charts and kind of making the decision of what's going to happen next, which is always critically important, right? So a master time frame is going to be the highest time frame that can be targeted at the global level. And when you say global level, you can take a range, for example, and if we were to draw a range here, we could define it like this, and then there will be a master on the bottom side, a master on the top side. If we were to go and take a larger range, which we can say is the same top, but it's from here, then you would say the master is somewhere in this section. There's a master time frame there, and there's a master here. And then inside of this, you would have a controller and a controller. So controllers are the interior levels that are deciding the smaller ranges that attack the larger ranges. So there's always a controller on the trade, and it's usually going to be a lower time frame. It's very rare that it's the same time frame, although it can happen. It happens more when you have an elongated move, because the reality is, in this case, your master from back here will be a weekly likely, and your master here will be a weekly. To have a controller that would be a weekly, you'd have to stay in this range for quite some time, probably a few more weeks anyways. So this is why I say it's typically going to be a lower time frame, but that doesn't always make it a hard set rule that it has to be a lower time frame when we talk about masters and controllers. So yeah, just to clarify that, a master is the highest time frame that dictates the range that it's in, and a controller allows targets to be hit. So let's go and now kind of look at what's been happening. So we can kind of talk about the logic flow, because if we understand where masters and controllers are in the trade, we can really start to define targets. So if we were to take the whole plethora of targets, we have weeklies, dailies, 4 hours. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, hourly, 5, 6, 7. You have 8 time frames. So like, which one are you targeting out of those 8? You can always combo down from the highest time frames down, but that doesn't always give you the right point to make a long or a short. And then also polarity plays a big part of masters and controllers and the difference between them. So this is what we're focusing on today, is making good decisions going forward, understanding where targets can be based on masters and controllers. So what I want to do is I first want to just take a look at this trend. It was before, because I'm going to delete this so that I can go to the higher time frame. So we're stepping forward a bit in order to delete this to step back. You know what? If I delete this one here, yeah, okay. You know what? We're just gonna keep both. Actually, I definitely need to keep both. This just kind of looks like it's a level, but we'll just have to keep in mind that that's not a level; it's a trend, and we have to pull back down further into the time frame to do that. So let's talk about the reason and kind of what happens here with Bitcoin. So like we have Bitcoin here, and the daily time frame is going to be the controller on the trade. The weekly is the master, and through that daily time frame, like, you don't have anything left inside of this test of this daily level except for a 15-minute, a combo origin 15, which would end up being the hourly level. You have a 4-hour here. You're getting pretty deep in the range, so there's kind of a split between, because you don't want to go for what's called disconnected timeframes. Disconnected timeframes are when you have something like this 15 and then an hourly above it. So you have to split this into 2 different things. And your hourly above it, this is an hourly because it's a 15-minute origin. Origin timeframes are always 1 time frame up. So let's just remember that. If you have an origin, it's 1 time frame up. So if you have a 15-minute origin, it's an hourly level. So when we look at this, we can say, okay, you have the daily, you would have to have a 4-hour and then an hourly and then a 15. And then, this could be your combination target, whether it's 1 combo down, 2 combos, 3 combos. When you have this 15 here, it means next you cannot combo of 15 into an hourly because it's a time frame up and then reverse this 15. It is either going to stop here and disconnect the move, or it is going to go for the next set of moves here. So it's going to go hourly into what this could be a 1 hour right here. And then again, the same thing, it cannot target a 4 hour to reverse the 1 hour, right? So then you would be left with a choice of, okay, this didn't stop at this 15, because that's kind of the first combination setup inside this daily. If that wasn't the case, then it could go for this 4 hour, then it could go for this hourly, then it could either reverse this 4 hour and then go for this hourly, because that would be the trail, which would leave you some kind of trend, right? Or it could do just like 4 hour, ladder, hourly, reverse 15 right here. So this is important as a first thing that we need to look at, because we need to understand what's being tested in order to understand what's next, right? So really, when you come down to this and you start looking at Bitcoin and what had happened here, there was a whole bunch of levels in here that got tested pretty perfectly, like 15-minute levels and origins, and where these wicks fall short. And that's perfectly fine. But let's just kind of walk through this and see what happens first. So your daily is hit. Okay, so you have a daily hit. Now all of a sudden you're like, okay, we've got a daily hit. As with any time frame, if this thing holds 3 or 4 or 5 times, and we see this a lot on 1-minute candles, and we see this a lot on 5-minute candles and 3-minute candles, and sometimes even on 15-minute candles, where you have something that's hit over and over and over and over, and it just ends up holding, and then you have kind of this ridiculous movement up. This is a good example of that. You use simply a 1 hour candle here. It ends up being a part of polarity in the chart, although I'm not going to call it polarity or market as an origin right now, simply for the fact that we're just using this for a quick visual example. But you see this all the time. You hit an hourly once, twice, 3, 4 times, and then you hold some level off of that without touching that hourly again, and you just start to launch the other direction. Like this is a very common thing that happens. We've all seen it. There's no need to diagnose that, talk about it, but just to shed light on it. Like once this daily gets hit, we need to realize that, okay, we've hit it once. And this is important, because if we continue to hit this daily level and hold it, again, just like any of the smaller time frames, it will end up eventually holding this time frame and creating a massive move in the other direction. So we've hit this. So now, with that understanding, a few things need to happen. We need to start thinking about targets on the bottom side, and we need to start thinking about offsetting those targets. So we've hit the daily. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go here on this side of the chart and move to the daily and say, okay, now what are we doing? Are we going to Pandora's box? Because Pandora's box would mean daily to daily, right? So your target would be very clear. It would be here to here. And that would tell you you're in a Pandora's box. And what that would give you is it would give you your trend work. So I have this trend here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it here for this example. And then you'd have a trend from here. You'd either have this trend here, or you could simply have where you touch that daily trend, that daily level to this here. And this is really like the point of this is creating that like trend to trend. See which side of the trend breaks to see what side of the Pandora's box is going to break. So that's a very simple queue of actions. It is, we create a Pandora's box to make trends, and when those trends are created, we can see which trend breaks, and that's going to allow the range to be attacked deeper. So like a very, very simple following of this so far. Another scenario that could happen is we could be not in a Pandora's box, rather we could be in a laddering scenario. So you hit the daily, you stop at a 4-hour level. Now I'm just going to use this level here because it's marked as yellow. So I'm assuming I have it as a 4-hour level, although I'm not sure. I might have mismarked the color. But anyways, the point being is that if you don't go and target this daily, a Pandora's box is failing to be created. A Pandora's box failing to be created means you just haven't reached your final target up top, because then you might hit the weekly to go down to a weekly on the bottom, create a larger Pandora's box, or you might not have hit your target on the top, hit the weekly, and then hit this daily in order to ladder up still. So when you don't create a Pandora's box, I think is the most important part of this. By not creating the Pandora's box, you have the acknowledgement and the understanding that the target on top simply hasn't been hit. Because in order for anything to go anywhere, you have to equalize targets daily. We create a Pandora's box. Inside that Pandora's box, there is trend work. That trend work breaks, and it shows you which side of the Pandora's box is going to break. If you can never hit that, target on the bottom, you're simply just laddering up. So that's the first part of this daily touch. You touch this daily. Are you going to a 4? Are you going to a daily? This is giving us a lot of intel on what's happening, right? And so that's good. We've hit the daily. We're there. Let's continue watching as to what happens with this chart here. I'm just going to expand it up a bit here, and let's just go and hit play again. continue watching this, see what happens. You start developing things like origin levels here. Like I'm not going to go too far into marking these, you know, because I'm sure there's other stuff here that's in play. Like I'm just marking what's on my screen, but sure, I have an hourly level here, which is a 15-minute origin. Very simple, very easy, very clean. 15-minute level, bang, easy. It's an hourly because it's now an origin. It's creating polarity in the move. And then you see, okay, 15-minute level targets a 15-minute level. Hold on a second. This is an hourly level. So now you have a daily level that has created hourly polarity that has targeted a 15-minute level. So this is just like master timeframes and controllers. And the point of this is that you have an offsetting of timeframes. If this is the 1 hour here, it needs to target a 1 hour up top. It needed to target this if it wanted to create a Pandora's box that could either break up or collapse down. That hasn't happened here. We have not created an internal Pandora's box. We have not created any Pandora's box, actually. Okay, so this trading view is cooked. It's not letting me delete that line. 1 second. So now we have a clear indication that, look, we've hit a daily. I'm assuming this is the 4 hour level. It's back target at the 4 hour level to tell you that the daily is breaking. However, it has also broken its interior range. So now you get into kind of this like interesting thing because now you're like, okay, master time frame. And this is master to local. This is actually just a controller from the larger master, which is the weekly up top. So the interior controller here is telling you that it is being offset from this. However, this most internalized range in a smaller portion of this move is losing its internal move. So you can assume now that you're moving up again. You can assume that you're moving up in the charts and that this daily just simply isn't going to hold for the larger piece that's happening. Because if you were to measure this range, it would go from here to here to see if that can break. And the more interior range is from this moment to this moment. So you have an interior range that's allowing this 4 hour to be hit. So that's why you get a 4 hour target. It's actually pretty straightforward here. So let's just see what happens. 4 hour level holds. That's offsetting the daily. So now you'd be in a scenario where you're saying, okay, let's have an hourly level hold. So like you're here or you are here and saying, okay, now are we moving and laddering up towards that target, or do we need to now create another 4 hour and create some kind of laddering movement? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a 4 hour here as well so that we can see what is happening internally in this trade, right? See, then you got a 4 hour here. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. What's going to hold? Is it going to be the 4 hours? Is it going to be the hourly? Well, there's your hourly. I guess you could consider this either or target here. I think what you'd have to do is you'd have to actually go down into this target and start more micro observing this thing, because technically you didn't hit the 4. So like you can take that 4 off and that 4 would need to be hit there. So like what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hourly off. We have hit an hourly. So we're laddering up to try to break the daily, or we are coming back to test this to see if it can hold. Or in a worst case scenario, you're testing trend, right? Like you have your trend there and you're testing that. So like, let's see what happens next. Gonna hit play here. Daily's hit again. Okay. So now what's happening is you're saying, okay, so you're starting to hit this daily over and over and over and over. So you've hit the daily, you've passed the daily to reverse the target, to lose the daily, to close it. And now you've hit it for a third time. So that's fine. The daily's starting to hold. At this point, I would be thinking to myself, just like if this was a 5-minute level, okay, this 5-minute level is still holding. It's continuously holding. It's not able to break. It's not able to target anything greedier. So eventually this 5 minutes is going to turn into a 15-minute level, or this 5-minute hold is going to make us lose its own time frame. So, you know, at this point I would be looking at this and saying like, okay, well, like we have a daily target down here. Like this is a daily target here. Rejection as target as a daily. So if we have hit this daily and ladder below this, you've just created this as an awesome entry for this as like a shield or a trigger for the next entry, because realistically it would come back up here one day and it would hit this and it would continue the ladder from daily to daily to daily to daily in order to create the larger time frame stuff up here, which is either weekly trends or some type of trend off of this. But anyway, the larger piece of that. So let's just go back down to this hourly, hit play, see what happens. This is some kind of hourly trend that I had marked. Yeah, okay, so that's an hourly trend. So again, you're back hitting this hourly again. So you're sitting here and now you're almost doing the same thing you have up top. It's like you've hit this daily multiple times. You're hit and holding this hourly multiple times. So there has to be some kind of thing that's going to break, because really now also you are creating, I believe this created the 4 hour trend. It did. So you created one trend here. that got lost, and you created another one here. So you're starting to cycle the trend. That's the next piece of this puzzle. You're starting to cycle the trend. So let's see what happens here. You go, you have a 5-minute level, you have your hourly level. So like hourly to 4. If you're going to keep moving up, realize that you have these hourlies being tested. So hourly to hourly right now is just Pandora's box. One of these has to break. And now it's either going to be an hourly level that breaks the move. So you're down here, you're here, or it's going to be a 15-minute that propagates this up. So if you have all of a sudden a trail of 15-minute levels that's holding this thing up, well, you have your answer as to what's going to happen. This is kind of like the untested 15. Let's see if this gets hit. I'm not 100% sure it does. It actually breaks trend. I just want to see if this 15 gets hit. Yeah, there's that 15 gets hit. Okay, so let's look at this. 15 gets hit. This here, polarity from the past, fine. That doesn't, we can actually just completely get rid of that and just mark it actually as the 15-minute level here that's being tested, because you have a 15-minute level right here that's being tested. So let's go and do this. Mark that. You have a 15-minute level being tested. Zoom in here a bit. And you also have this 15-minute back here too, right? So like you have a 15 here. It doesn't hold the move. It breaks the move. You have a 15 here. Like these are going to be tested, likely going to test back down here. Let's just hit play and see what happens. No, it actually doesn't. And that's fine too. It's still hitting this 15 here. It's just like, did it go after the front side body? Did it go after the front side wick? Is it holding the backside polarity, or is there an hourly level here somewhere? Well, there's an hourly level. So actually this is an hourly level. So we can just mark this as an hourly and just kind of move on with everything. We've got a 4-hour trend here. 4-hour, let's just make sure that's not broken. I don't think it is. You have a 4-hour trend that's being held. So your 4-hour level is being held, and it's moving up off the hourly. So now you would be starting to go and do things like, okay, well, let's take this and let's create ladder points, right? Like hourly is being hit and held, and so fine, you have it there. Next is maybe here, and so forth. So let's hit play here, see what happens. Oh, too fast. Okay, still fine. You've got a bunch of targets in and around here, everything from an hourly here, which is hourly to hourly. You have, an hourly target here, which had continued to hold the move. That breaks there. So now you're right here, right? This is going to be actually not polarity in the move. It's right here, and that's not even polarities. You might have like a 15-minute right here, but let's just not worry about that. I don't really know if there's a point to go and sit there and try to like trail those through. So hourlies are being hit. 4-hour, like you've got hourly backside here being hit there, hourly here. Again, hourly is hourly. It's just how greedy in the move do you want to get between combination levels, front side, back sides. And that's a different discussion and topic. So anyways, you've got a 4-hour trend holding up this move. You can delete this right there. We also can continue to move our daily targets through. Like this would be rejection as a target on the daily. So you could go daily to daily here and then create some kind of like 4-hour levels being tested or created after this, and then beyond that. So you would go and you would say this is hit, and then you would ladder somewhere above it, and then maybe you create a 4-hour level in order to get back to this 4-hour level up here. So that's fine. So anyways, let's get back to going to this move. And so you've got like a bunch of stuff here. You've got 5-minute levels. You've got, some forms of polarity back here. I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff in here. Maybe it's right here. This form of this looks like this is the polarized part of the move. Hits it, creates a Pandora's box, breaks above it, backtest polarity. As always, this is what happens with polarity. It always backtests. This is an hourly level. So if you have this climbing of hourlies there, and then your next hourly would have been, we're on the 15th. Need to go to the hourly here. You got an hourly there. Your next hourly would have been backside here, front side here, polarity here, all hourly levels. So this would have had to have been what targets next, right? So like if you actually just go to the logic flow of this trade, what you end up getting is you end up getting a 5-minute level being tested. I believe that's a 5-minute level. I have it marked as a 5-minute level. I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming, yeah, 5-minute level being tested. Can that hold? And then really here, you're kind of in your final moments, right? Because you've got your polarity here. Back here is an hourly level, and then you're given the daily, right? So at this point, you've got one of two things that can happen. Well, you actually have a few things that can happen. Number one, you could have actually laddered this and broken down. I think a lot less likely when you're talking about hourly levels holding it up to offset on a 5-minute level. I think you would have needed a 15-minute level if you're using hourlies, and hourly needs to target an hourly. So there's two sides of this. If an hourly targets a 4, it means that whatever the hourly is representing, you're So for example, if this targets a 4, and let's say this orange line was yellow instead, if that targets a 4, it means whatever the hourlies are doing are in succession, and it is just a Pandora's box from an earlier 4-hour time frame. So it is just a Pandora's box from an earlier 4-hour time frame. Or from an even earlier time frame, it's a daily, it's offsetting that daily in order to break the move down past this, because this daily is failing to hit its daily, which is here. So whenever you change these targets like this, realize your range is changing. And so what you thought was your controller actually probably wasn't your controller. And that's how we see where controllers are, is by understanding if there's a time frame that's hit that deviates away, so hourly deviates to a 4, what was the actual controller? So that's the first question you have to ask yourself, right? Because we know what the master is. The master is easy. It's the highest time frames, or it's the master that's controlling the trades. Okay. So that's if we stop here, right? So you keep going through this trade. Everything is looking fine. It back tests the hourly. This thing's not done. Haha. Guess what? It's going for the daily. At this point here, you simply have the daily being tested, because now realize the daily is targeting something much greater than these hourly levels. The only thing that really could have happened here is you could have held an hourly level, because you've already created that laddering. And if this was going to break, it would have had some kind of, I'm assuming if we were to just go to a smaller time frame, there's some type of interior range that's going to be, so that tests that. So this is one interior range right here. There's going to be one interior range right here. And this would be the 15. That's fine. I don't believe we have an hourly. If you had an hourly, the problem with having an hourly interior range here is that a level is a level. So breaking an hourly is breaking an hourly, unless this created a scenario like this, where this interior range has to continue to hold. This is breaking that hourly trail of levels now. So if you don't have any other hourly levels, realize this is breaking that trail. So you have an hourly there, right here, there to there. You could use this, but it's going to be one and the same. I would rather see the 15-minute levels, or for the daily, because really right now, then you're talking about going after 4-hour levels. So then at this point, the target, if you hit the daily, what has to hold as a minimum is this 4-hour level. No question in my mind, this 4-hour level has to hold. And you could even create 4-hour range trends. So you could even do something like this. So I'm going to have just a whole bunch of different trends here. Because what we're not going to do is we're not going to go and analyze to see which is the correct trend. Rather, I'm just going to mark all three, because I'm assuming one of these 4 hours breaks, and that's where this thing dumps out of its mind, because you've got the hourly that has to hold, right? You've got a 15-minute that could offset that breaking of that move. And then you have a 4-hour, which would be target to this. And then you have a daily, which would be the target below. So your targets are like this. You hit this daily and the move starts to collapse. Your target is 4-hour, 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 one of these three, daily. Daily completes Pandora's box. So you are now just stuck in a range between 4-hour levels. If you can't hold the daily, all you've done is create a ladder point and started to dump the move. So let's just go take a look at what happens here. Hourly hard closes question mark. I need to zoom in here. And actually, this is not enough of a hard close. On the 15, it has to be on the hourly. Let's see what happens. Can't regain the hourly level. So that's the first thing that happens here. Can't regain the hourly level. Fine. So take that off. Next on the chopping block would be the 15-minute level starting to hold up. You got a 15 here. That's polarity there. You got backside 15 right here. You've got front side 15 right here. You've got backside also level test right here. Front side, backside, body. This is all a 15-minute level test. So that's fine. 15-minute level test all equals here. It doesn't matter where it goes, how deep in the move you go. For all I care, you can mark all three of them, right? You can start to create this range trend here. And also when we break this range trend, it opens up the range to be tested. So then you're just simply left with a 15-minute level here. And then we just go forward a few candles and see what does it test here. So there's the, is that actually a body test anywhere? No, it's front side, back side's been tested. That's fine. That's probably the body right there, right? There's your 4-hour level. So target is hit. So you've got the daily, target is hit. Can the 4-hour hold? Well, you've got quite a few 4-hour levels here. So it really could go after any of these. Let's see where the other 4-hour levels are here. Well, it's down here, but yeah, really this needed to hold it up. And that's fine. It's a 4-hour level and needs to hold it up. So that doesn't hold. You can see it has a little bounce at this 4-hour level, probably something very, very tiny. Yeah, like hits this level, tries to hold it, can't regain this hourly, fine. Loses this trend, hits this 4-hour, can't gain it, whatever this hourly levels. I'm not even sure what this is. That's polarity in the move. So it would have had to hit this and this. So this polarized the move to bring it up. So this can never be it. So you've got a 4 hour, which would have had to test, and then it would have had to reverse and hit this hourly. So the queue of events here would have had to look like this. You hit this 4 hour, you close above the hourly, and you hold that hourly so that you have something like that, and then you have a hold level there. The second that hold level doesn't hold, like it should be no surprise to anybody that this thing just falls off a cliff. The one surprising thing is that it actually didn't hold this daily level. So now you have daily to daily, what should have been Pandora's box, actually breaking as well. So this is gone. This is gone. You've lost your daily. So now you can see why, when this daily hit again, the events that happen to break this down. So when you are looking at something to trade and it's starting to break down like this, you are being shown, and we've actually now created this here. You're being shown, and I'm sure there's some polarity in here that was in the move, and it might have been one of those levels we deleted. We can look at that after, and it goes and targets this hourly level again. So now we have the back test of an hourly level. We've got a daily here. We've just lost a daily. Really, this is either going to hold on 15-minute levels now to start moving up in time frames in order to attack a 4 hour. I don't know where your 4 hour is. This here is obviously like the best entry you could ever possibly hope for, because look, you've got polarity that held up the move. It backtests that hourly. That's the hourly it lost in order to lose everything. That's polarized 101. That's polarity 101. So if you were to lose that level, you would always take a short on it, right? And then so that's where you see, the struggle for this level here. Like that's where you see it lost a level, backtest polarity, ladders its backtest. Yeah, well, like of course this thing is going to dump now, right? Like of course it's going to dump. It's laddering polarity, hitting a hold level and holding it. It's we got to zoom in for this one. Actually, I can't quite see that. Hits this level here, creates this, backtest that, holds it. This is its next reverse target, holds it, holds its next reverse target, holds its next reverse target. Like this is kind of disgusting how clear this is, right? And then just falls off the face of the earth, which again, this should be no surprise to anybody. There should be no ask all the questions you want, but there shouldn't be like, oh, I don't understand why it dumped. It's actually so straightforward. So that polarity is already back tested. You've already started to lose your move, and you've now gone down here. So now really the only thing that can hold this up is 15-minute levels. So you've got a 15-minute level here. Jesus, that's quite the move. Let's measure that. Yeah, you need to gain almost 2%. So like what happens here? You probably start with a 1-minute level or something like that, and then there's a back test of the daily, and don't even think you're going to have that 15-minute here. Is not really even important at this point. It's got to back test that 15 that hourly here, and I'm sure you build up the time frames to that. I'm sure you have 5-minute levels, right? 5-minute level hits right here in order to create a 15, and I'm sure prior to that there's a 3 that hits and holds. Yeah, which is all in the same, and I'm sure there's 1-minute levels that hit and hold. Like that's not doing this interior analysis like this on what held the move. Really the thing is the master time frame here, the controller is the hourly. So now we know we have to start creating 15-minute levels. We're kind of back in that same queue, right? So then you can just like, I don't need to dissect this down. I can just automatically go and start marking these levels as, okay, well, this needs to hold, or maybe you need to create a 5-minute origin somewhere. So that's another possibility here. It's like a 15-minute level can be right here. So that's your 15-minute level was actually created prior to hitting that 5-minute level. So if you needed to create a 15-minute level, that ladder had already started. You have the 5-minute here, the test once. That's your buy spot on this. This is the 15-minute level. It allows you to start creating your ladder trail, 15-minute level. You can justify a deep dive if you want to start combinationing this down to the 5-minute level. So you're on this is a 15-minute time frame. You combo here to the 5, right? So you can combo that 5, and then you can go 3 and 1. Like if you want to, but realizing that oh, that's not the right color at all. Hold on. Realizing that measurement of RA, like in order to miss this trade, like you're talking about 6% to miss the trade. What does a 3-minute level look like if you're going to combo that down? The 3-minute level is actually already hit. So you're already comboing the 3-minute level. You've got this here. I would only just look for a 1-minute origin at that point, and a 1-minute inside of that 3-minute level. So you have a 1-minute origin. Do you have it anywhere? Yeah, you have a 3-minute level right here. So that's it right there. So that's pretty easy to see. That's a 3-minute level. And then is there a combination inside of that for the 1? Yeah, probably not. You've got this right here. But I like at that point, it's like, how like, are you willing to miss this trade over 5%, probably not. 13%, also again, probably not. A little further for 1 more percent, again, probably not. You're probably just taking this 15-minute level here for RA reasons. But if you wanted to just really edge this thing out, you could find the ultimate entry by saying 15, 5, 3, and then after that, you have to hold a 1 minute level. So even if you missed all of that, then at least you have the 1 minute level right here where you can rebuy that says that 3 minute as a maximum can be in succession if this holds, which it does. So now it's like almost a controller inside of the master time frame being the 15, the controller being the 3, which means the 1 has to hold. So like this is a pretty clean, straightforward way to find like that greedier target. But again, is that really worth it in this scenario? Because then we pull back to the question of, okay, RA dictates that should we miss this trade over 14 or 15%, we can cover 4 levels for 15%. Probably not worth it. Again, though, could you have found it? Yes, your own personal preference. And is this even the correct target? So are these even are these targets even like, is this a scalp or is this a swing trade? To me, this, or is this a position trade? To me, this is lies somewhere between a scalp and a swing trade, for the simple fact that if we've had a daily on top, I don't truly believe that the hourly should be a target. So this, I would err more to the side in the caution of, okay, well, you have an hourly level here. This can hold it down. It's not an hourly level yet, but it can turn into an hourly level over time. You got a 15, an hourly. I don't really know if this is target yet. I would err on the side of this being a scalp. Just hit play here, see what happens. That's the first test. If it hits again and falls, likely you're going to be losing that part of the move. So now you're just laddering 15-minute levels, right? Are you not? Just a 15-minute reverse here. Your next target is going to be here as a reverse, or you could even just say like here, somewhere between here and here. You've now got your hourly level. So now you're talking about Pandora's box being created between these two, between this and this here. So we can just delete this, and this. That's fine. So like our 15-minute level is going to hold this. So now you'd have rejection as a target, something like this. Rejection as a target to gain a 15 to try to break it down. If this holds the move, likely going to lose that 15 origin up top and go higher, or are you going to bounce this or this? So you've got a very, finite point here of what you can actually do with this trade, right? So like, are you breaking over? And it actually does break over, right? And then it actually loses its trade. So looks like it broke over this hourly, tried to target something higher. I'm assuming it's some type of polarity that was found back here that it targets. Could have been this right here, could have been something in here on different time frames. Not really my concern right now. I honestly don't think, and this is why I said for me, no, that's actually a lot of money on this trade. If you made 1.5 on this from this level here, or even actually this, if you can make 1% on this, I think I would be happy with that. This is actually 1.3, so I probably would have targeted, a breakout above this that somewhere lies around 1.1, 1.2%, something like that. Like I would have targeted something like that because I just truly believe that our target hasn't been hit on the bottom yet. So I'm not sitting here diehard holding this thing till the end of time. And then when we see something like this, like we gain the hourly, we move up, you've got not even 4-hour levels being created yet. Like I think creating this as a 4-hour level to hold might be the most important thing that we can do in this trade. So let's go back to this, take a look. That's a 4-hour level there, loses a 4-hour level. Oh, it actually just, okay, so we kind of skipped through the time frame analysis. That's fine. And again, I'm actually glad that we did, because again, I just don't see this as being the target that offsets that move from the top. A 4-hour, sure, I can get on board with a 4-hour here. And where does this trend come from? Let's see this trend. So you've got a 4-hour. I think this was a point that was comboed down. So you've got a 4-hour here. So that's hit. Actually, this wouldn't be a bad spot for a long either. 4-hour level offsetting the daily. So if you actually look at this, that's the target that was hit. So we can actually just ignore this. So that was a bit of a misanalysis. It was actually a 4-hour level that was hit. So this target here wasn't even important. You would actually have to go to hourlies and do that from here. So you actually never created the origin hourly for 4 to 4 to Pandora's box. So you're actually just not there yet. So that's fine. Oh, okay. And we're current. So then right now, really, you're just 4-hour to 4-hour Pandora's box. You've lost this daily, right? And the only thing you can really do here is start to look for, all other forms of polarity here. Maybe you might end up creating this as an hourly level to hold. So this would kind of be my first step, is if we do hold this 4-hour, I would like to see it come back up and then test this right here, this 15-minute origin, to show me that it's laddering the hourly timeframes. Hit the 4, ladder the 1, and then at least you have some type of range trend as well that allows you to continue seeing the furthering of this move. So then you would have some type of hopefully 4-hour range trend here, the 4 to 4, and then you'd have the 1 hour that hits that, and you'd have your 4-hour level that's created. And then obviously, in order to get down to this range here, we have to break this trend, which represents which range? That represents down here. So when we break this trend, it's going to open up this range down here to see the move. But I think this hitting this daily again just gives you a very clear, like if you took a short on this daily, like you should be getting out on this 4-hour level. You can make a case to say that, look, like this is tested, so it should technically be here as the reverse, because technically this is tested, and then, you know, you can go here, which should reverse this, and then can go and back test this as a reverse. But there's also targets below. There's also, I almost wonder if you have hourlies here. Yeah, like this is a 4-hour target, for example. This is a 4-hour target. So really, would you stop here? No, probably not. You'd probably go for the deepest 4-hour target in the range. So like you can automatically delete that. That's gaining it as a target. That's losing it. That's a daily. And then really, this is where your trade makes sense, is from here to here. And it's 350%. And that's great. Although you can also make a case to say like you're moving down because you haven't targeted it. Like, is this, and then you go back to your question of masters. Is this a Pandora's box to Pandora's box here? Or are we laddering the move to break this? So like if we start holding this, obviously that daily's breaking. And that's, you know, at a minimum, I think you should have gone to the bottom of the range, taking this daily all the way to the bottom of the current range, the deepest 4-hour level in the current range. Because if the current range can hold, and it can use a time frame +1, -1, which is one time frame down here for us, which is the 4-hour. So if we can go to the deepest part of the range, we've created the trends. Number one, we've created the trends we need. Number two, we've created ladder points, which are also creating trends, which is the same thing almost in a way, but not quite, but it shows you where ladder points can happen in the future. And number three, we've actually offset this daily target with a 4-hour. So at a minimum, this should have been your profit take. Now, whether you want to say this range is breaking and it's going to move down further and open new ranges, that's another question completely. But as a minimum, this daily here should have gone and targeted this 4-hour. And that's why.